A downpour of rain brings a great flood, stranding drivers, closing schools, and there's more to come. A cloud of smoke seen for miles because of a huge fire at GE's Appliance Park. On the court, one more time before they put perfection on the line, we take you inside Kentucky's last open practice.
Expect more right now. You're watching Wave 3 News.
Fire and water wreaking havoc on Louisville. First, severe storms and floods overnight, then a massive fire and a cloud of smoke and debris at GE, canceling schools and keeping many people stuck at home taking cover. Thanks for joining us on this very busy Friday. I'm Shannon Kogan. We're going to get to that fire in just a moment, but first, we want to start with the weather alerts impacting our area right now. Wave 3 News reporter Gordon Boyd spent the day tracking how those flooded roads and high waters caused problems for so many people today. We'll get to him in just a little bit, but let's start with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett, and we're under a flash flood warning right now, Kevin.
Flash flood warning now, Shannon. Many of us remain under the tornado watch that takes us into the evening hours as well. We've been dealing with a lot of water. How much? Over an inch fell yesterday. Today alone, since midnight, we've picked up 4.5 inches of rain. Our totals, really, when you add them up in the first 2 days of April, exceed almost double what we would see in the whole month alone. So it gives you an idea of just how extreme this is when you start talking 3, 4, 5 inches of rain falling in such a short amount of time. The severe weather chances will end in the wake of this cold front moving through. It's knocking on our door now. Southern Indiana, the watch for the tornado watch has been allowed to expire for you. We will bring in much cooler air overnight tonight. In the meantime, we're still going to watch central Kentucky, eastern Kentucky for the potential for some stronger storms. Let's talk about what we have going on now. We have the rain falling across central Kentucky. For that reason, flash flood warnings are in place here in Louisville until 5:45, off to our south and east a little longer. The tornado watch from the Ohio River on south until 10 o'clock. Look how much rain has fallen in the last 24 hours here, moving across Jefferson County, Harrison County, Crawford County, back over into Shelby and Spencer. Generally along I-64 is where we've had the highest rainfall totals so far. We'll keep an eye on the rainfall trends as we go through the evening as well. Any additional rain aggravates that flooding. Temperature is going to be dropping overnight tonight. We fall back into the upper 30s by early tomorrow. That comes with a clearing sky. And that means a welcome, calmer weekend forecast, Shannon. We'll take a peek to that Easter weekend in just a couple of minutes.
Kevin, thanks. Smoke for miles. Look at this live picture here from Air 3. You can still see all of that smoke right now. That workplace burning to the ground today as part of GE's Appliance Park catches fire. But thank goodness this happened on a day when most employees were not at work, because look right there, that live picture. That is what remains now of that building. And some people could not believe their eyes on the way to work this morning. First, floods to deal with, and then that fire. Our team coverage tonight starts with Wave 3 News reporter Katie Bauer. She is live at the scene of the fire. And how did the weather today impact the fire crews at the scene, Katie?
Well, Shannon, as you can see, the smoke continues to billow from Building 6 now more than 10 hours later. And the rain might seem like a blessing out here, but fire crews tell us it actually only hampers the situation, creating low visibility. It's been a really long day for all of the fire crews involved, and we're told that this day is far from over.
It's unbelievable. It really is. It's kind of a shock.
GE Appliance Park employees like Bruce Martin couldn't help but just stop and stare. It even left a retired firefighter in disbelief.
This has been the biggest one I've seen.
Thank God. It's really, really heartbreaking, but in the meantime, I'm so thankful.
Marshall Young is thankful because the burning structure, Building 6, is the one he works in. The majority of employees were on a company holiday. Those that did come in all got out safe.
We are really, really deep in a project right now, and we're really trying to, work really good and push this product that we're working on right now.
200 firefighters from every single district in Jefferson County responded to this fire that started just before 7 o'clock Friday morning.
About that point, we walked outside and you could just begin to see the flames. Then over a period of time, the whole thing was engulfed.
Donnie Blake, president of OPC Services, had a front row seat. His business is right across the street.
Looks like they may have it under control now. You don't see nearly as much flames as what you did this morning. We heard multiple explosions.
Fire officials say lightning is likely to blame.
The problem that we're running into is we have a low water pressure on the premises. GE actually has been working over the last several months to work on their water supply.
And seeing the destruction out here really is amazing that no one was hurt. While firefighters did take a break during those heavy rains, they expect to be out here the rest of the night and through tomorrow. Shannon, back to you.
Katie, thanks. Wow, look at that. 10 hours after that fire started, so much smoke still coming from that building. And now GE has to figure out how to continue operations at the plant. Wave 3 News reporter Natalia Martinez continues our team coverage with what is next at GE Appliance Park.
They are going to be closed all through next week, a spokesperson confirmed, and that will also bring all production to a halt. And right now, GE is trying to say that customers are not going to be impacted. Building 6, where the fire started, is actually where they stored their parts. There were also offices for hundreds of employees there. We're being told that the employees are going to be paid for the week that GE is closed. A union rep told us that they're working with the company, trying to figure things out. The company says they need next week to restore the parts that were lost in the fire. They're also going to walk through the other buildings to check what shape they are in. They did say that they do have a place at Appliance Park for all the other parts that will be restored. They said that right now they're trying to figure out where they're going to place the employees that worked inside Building 6 at GE. Natalia Martinez, Wave 3 News.
Rescue teams and hundreds of people throughout the area certainly wish they could have given the firefighters at GE some of the water they've been dealing with since midnight. Torrential rain prompting flash flooding, evacuations, even a road collapse. Wave 3 News reporter Gordon Boyd joining us live from Okolona with more. In the south end, Gordon, has gotten it particularly hard.
Shannon, more rain falling more quickly in neighborhoods that haven't been known for draining particularly well anyway. We've been talking about Guardian Court Apartments in Okolona since sunrise. Since midday, the water's gotten about 10 feet closer to Preston Highway. The parking lot is a pool, and pooling is only part of the problem.
What really drives home the sheer force of nature, though, is out Brownsboro Road near Springcrest Drive. A chunk of one lane collapsed, gone, as if someone took a bite out of the middle of a giant chocolate bar and the current washed the pavement away. Time and cost of repairs, we don't know yet. Thorn Valley Road headed toward I-65, across between a creek and lagoon, deep enough to cover half the tires on a large SUV. Dozens of such drivers, and we plow through it anyway. Patty Manning's thought better of it over at Colonial Square Co-op. So far, the water hasn't gotten into the townhouses, but she's not sure it's crested. And her daughter wants her to pick up the grandsons.
I'll always get them on Friday, but they said if they got to move the furniture, it would be better if I had them so they would have a place. They'll probably have to stack it on their beds and stuff.
150 rescues clocked since midday, and from what we understand from MSD, 16-hour shifts, anywhere between 60 and 100 workers have been told that their overtime could stretch well into Easter Sunday. Live in Okolona, Gordon Boyd, Wave 3 News.
Gordon, thanks. And before things got any better, they were a lot worse. The flash flooding started overnight, catching some off guard. Wave 3 News reporter Julian Glover continues our team coverage, showing us the impacts near U of L and the West End.
This was the scene for much of the morning. Severe flash flooding making the roads impassable, crippling the morning commute and sweeping cars right off the pavement.
The rain kept coming. Hazardous conditions across Kentuckiana as flash flooding swept the streets, covering cars like this SUV on U of L's main campus. The water would continue to rise to an incredible 12 feet, almost touching the top of the overpass. That red SUV disappearing underneath the water. Not too far away on Hurstbourne Parkway and 6 Mile Lane, this white car also taken underwater as another driver rolled the dice, stranding themselves in a street that was more like a river. Rescue crews standing by. In Okolona, fast-moving water prompted this mandatory evacuation of the first floor of the Guardian Court apartments. Residents tugged by boat to safety.
I was asleep and I woke up and somebody was knocking at my door. And they said it's flooding. And I go, oh no, not again.
A lengthy process that tested patience.
They just started bringing people out, but there's only one boat, so we all got to take turns and stuff.
Taylorsville Road, not much better. I-65 northbound shut down overnight, turned into a parking lot for commuters. Back at U of L at daybreak, the floodwater recedes as the campus is put on a 2-hour delay.
I don't know if this doesn't go down since we're a commuter school. Honestly, don't know how it's going to really work out for the afternoon classes here on Friday.
Out on the west end, it looked more like a ghost town. Abandoned cars in Shively roped off in yellow caution tape, causing a headache for the postponed rush hour commute.
But the top, the water at the top.
Igdia Gonzalez says the water swallowed her car so quickly she couldn't tell how bad the flooding was, so she took a chance, a decision she'll likely regret.
What are you thinking right now? What are you feeling?
Feeling bad. I feel in bed. I lose the car, the money, everything.
Igdia, like so many others, spent hours waiting for her car to be towed and waiting to find out if she'll ever be able to drive it again. Julian Glover, Wave 3 News.
What a morning. Up next, a major mystery solved in the case of a Dollar General manager attacked on camera. Thanks for joining us for Wave 3 News at 5. We're also streaming live on wave3.com, and right now you can find extended video and slideshows from today's fire and the floods. Police have made an arrest after a customer assaults a Dollar General manager while trying to shoplift. Police say 34-year-old William Smith Jr. is seen here in this video picking up a toddler hat, hiding it in his pocket while at this Outer Loop store. After he was confronted, Smith allegedly began beating the manager. You can see the whole thing there on surveillance video. He suffered a broken nose, black eye, broken lip, and bruises as well all over. Smith is now charged with robbery and assault. We now know the name of the Metro Corrections officer involved in a shooting yesterday near the Clifton Kroger store. Officer John Hagan of the Home Incarceration Unit shot 31-year-old Michael Anthony Thornton when Thornton tried to hit Hagan and another officer with his car. This happened near the Kroger on Brownsboro Road. Hagan is a 14-year veteran of the department and is now on paid administrative leave during this investigation. Still to come on Wave 3 News, more team coverage as water and fire rock Louisville on this Good Friday holiday. Wow, did that thunder wake you up last night? Let's talk about the weather once again. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnan told us that floods were possible last night, and he was right. Schools, as you know, canceled this morning. Some basements underwater now. A lot of drivers stranded and had to be rescued. Kevin joins us live once again. So any more issues for those people who are going out this evening or perhaps driving up to Indy for the Final Four?
Yeah, you know, we have some places that are going to see more flooding and some places that are seeing the kind of effects of the last 24 hours kind of recede. To the north, less of a chance. So if you're going to Indy, should be okay. To the south, you're not finished just yet. That cold front's knocking on our door here in Louisville. Is going to be passing by. The threat of heaviest rain and stronger storms is going to be ahead of the cold front across the area. Tornado watch exists across parts of Kentucky as well. Southern Indiana's been cleared from that watch until 10 o'clock. Many areas under flash flood warnings, and that's where we see that rain come down heavy. The waters, because the ground is so saturated, rises fast when the rain is falling, so keep that in mind. Let me share with you some of these photos that have been coming in. I mean, you're talking about a dozen cars flooded out there at Whispering Hills this morning out of Bullitt County. Brooks Hill Road, notice the debris left behind by rushing water that was moving. Water is so powerful when it starts flowing, and that's why we say don't drive through it. These folks were rescued this morning off Preston Highway, smiling, making the best of a terrible situation. Here's Valley Station, same story. Tough to even see the road there. Same story here. This guy had to sit on his roof until he was rescued eventually by a ladder. You can see just how intense those waters were as they rose so fast this morning. Could happen again in heavy downpours this afternoon and through the evening. The good news is the rain will be diminishing and fading away. Temperatures will be cooling down rapidly behind the front. We go back into the 30s overnight tonight. A cloudy sky from our Kentucky One SkyTrack network of cameras downtown. 65 our temperature now, made it to 70 today, above average, over 5 inches of rain today alone. Our 2-day total is well over 6 inches of rain, and that's I mean, typically in the whole month of April we would pick up about 3.9 inches. So not quite doubled in the first 2 days, but not far from it. Notice the 50s and 60s. That colder air starting to move in behind the front in southern Indiana. Showers and thunderstorms out ahead of that front could still have the potential to be on the strong side. It's something we'll be watching. Most of the reports that we've had out of any storm reports have been flooding flood problems, and that's what we'll continue to see for the most part. Can't rule out a strong thunderstorm, and that's why we have a slight risk of severe weather ahead of that front. But all in all, that threat will be pushing off to the east through the evening hours. We'll keep an eye on it. The good news is by Saturday into the day on Sunday, we calm it down and we bring back some sunshine. I'll stop the radar at 7 o'clock because sunrise for Easter Sunday is at about 7:23 in the morning. Even in the afternoon, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures over the weekend cool down Saturday, bounce back on Sunday. Much of next week in the 70s and 60s and 70s in our forecast that take us right into, the day before thunder over Louisville. We're getting close to all the Derby fun. Outside tonight, we have the flash flood warning now, the tornado watch until 10. Rain and storms. The threat of severe weather is diminishing just a bit, but not totally gone. 39 the overnight low, a cool low. Tomorrow's high, 59. That's kind of a cool Saturday too compared to where we've been this week, but we warm it back up. Easter Sunday, 69. All of next week in the 70s, but it comes with scattered storm chances just about each day as well. So
hopefully nothing like this though.
Well, hopefully we can just keep the heavy rain at bay. You know, the river will be rising, and that takes us into thunder, of course. That plays a big impact on the things that they do. So
we'll have to watch that.
You sure will.
We do want to mention too that JCPS, as you know, closed today. So this pushed back the final day of school again. It is now going to be Friday, June 5th. Graduation dates, which were just fixed this week, will now shift to. We have all those dates, times, locations on our website. Just go to wave3.com. A lot of people focusing on this. 38-0 and 2 to go. In just a little more than 24 hours, the Kentucky Wildcats tip off against the Wisconsin Badgers in the Final Four in Indy. And that is where my co-anchor Scott Reynolds and Wave 3 Sports Director Kent Taylor are live right now. And I'm sure you've been running into a lot of Cats fans.
Boy, a lot of them, Shannon. And you know, the rain hasn't washed out the roads here, but it's washed out some Cats fans' plans for tonight, I would think, Kent. We were 60 and sunny. I think we're about 45 and a rainy mess right now.
Yeah, the temperatures have dropped considerably here in Indianapolis. It is expected, though, if you're coming up for the games, to be nice this weekend. Now, you can see Lucas Oil Stadium behind us. Some fans filing out from the open practices and a Reese's College All-Star game. But all 4 teams did have open practices, including the Cats. Theirs was at 3 o'clock, and there was plenty of blue packing Lucas Oil Stadium as fans march up here. Maybe they don't have a ticket to the game, but they wanted to watch at least their part of history as this 38-0 team tries to complete the first perfect season in college basketball since 1976.
I mean, we had 2 vicious practices Tuesday and Wednesday, and I mean, I was on them like it was December. This is a team that wants to go at each other, and our advantage is that we have a lot of guys. So when we scrimmage, that you really benefit by that, and they want to. They don't want to do drills. This is not a drill team. Stop the drills, throw the ball up. And then they go after each other. They argue every call. They fight the whole, and I have to stop it. I'm saying that 5 times a practice.
So a good thing, maybe they haven't lost their edge. Probably helped a little bit by the close game that Notre Dame gave them in the Midwest Region Final Saturday night in Cleveland.
And what Wisconsin did last year, of course, too, with that 1-point game. They aren't going to catch them by surprise.
No, and a lot of the same pieces back for Kentucky. Has some of the guys back, but obviously Julius Randle and James Young in the NBA now, but Wisconsin with Frank Kaminsky, who only had 8 points in that game. You know those guys, they don't admit it really, but they're motivated.
Yeah, much better. 8 of their 9 top guys back from last season. And, you know, today was a really nice day for getting around, and I managed to stop in at Grand Central Station for UK. In their drive for a 9th title, the Wildcats have their own street. They've got their own hotel. The team will stay at the Marriott, and it's ready to burst with several thousand UK fans, with some extra bluegrass spirits on the menu.
We probably have about 10 bourbons up there now, where in a normal bar we'd have probably 3. So,
a former Cat, a walk-on during the difficult years with Coach Billy Gillespie, glad to be here for his former team.
Fortunately, I was the bad luck charm, right? Got me out of there to start winning, so I take some credit for that.
His old Lexington friend flew in from Orlando to see the Cats. Mom got him tickets.
They're a little high, but they're right in the dead center of the court, so it'll be nice.
A little bit of a nosebleed.
A little bit of a nosebleed, but at least I can say I'm there to watch him win number 9. So
the sea of blue, enough to turn the hotel's general manager into a fan of the fans.
you know, they've been coming in now really for 4 or 5 days. They're super friendly people. If you notice, I'm wearing a blue tie. I don't think I'm probably going to have to go out this weekend and buy some more blue stuff.
I'm sure some of the fans could probably provide that for him. They also brought in 750 cases of extra beer for the fans who will be at the hotel, and the team is staying there, so they get to rub shoulders sometimes with the players moving in and out.
Yeah, you might bump into them in the lobby. We'll hear more from the Cats and also from the Wisconsin Badgers. And John Bowe checks out some of those bad seats maybe, or some of the higher up seats here in Lucas Oil Stadium. That's in just a few minutes, Shannon.
All right, Kent and Scott, thanks so much. And what a nice mother, huh, to get her son a ticket? Remember to tune in tonight at 7 for our Pursuit of Perfection special. Kent, Scott, Kendrick will be back out live in Indy to preview this historic run. A cloud of smoke hanging over the city as Appliance Park burns. At 5:30, we're hearing from a woman whose yard took a hit, and an incredible story of survival. A man lost at sea for more than 2 months, now saved.
They saw me on the front of my boat, standing up there, waving my arms, and they turned that huge skyscraper around.
A real-life castaway lost at sea for 66 days, rescued just in time. Louis Jordan had gone sailing in January. No one had heard from him, though, for more than 2 months. That's because while at sea, he had drifted off into the Atlantic. His mast and rudder broken. The boat capsized 3 times. But this week, by chance, a German container ship spotted him, and then a Coast Guard rescue chopper lifted him from the scene. He said he stayed alive by eating raw fish and trapping rainwater. Incredible. Still ahead at 5:30, we meet the man who got a major presidential shout out amid a chaotic visit from the commander-in-chief. Plus, students trapped when floodwaters stranded their school bus. The effort crews put in to rescue them.
Expect more right now. You're watching Wave 3 News.
A live look overhead right now. That thick black cloud of smoke covering the city as a building in GE's Appliance Park burns to the ground. Thanks for joining us. I'm Janelle McDonald. The fire mixed with today's flooding, keeping many people inside their homes. Ashes fell into homes as the fire burned, and a thankful coincidence that it was a company holiday at Appliance Park today. Wave 3 News reporter Katie Bauer has been on the scene all day long. And Katie, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, Janelle, fire officials tell us that lightning is likely to blame for this fire, now still burning more than 10 hours later, and it's keeping around 200 firefighters here at the scene. Now, fortunately, we're told it has been contained, but the video we captured earlier today, it's amazing that nobody has been injured. And in fact, a lot of employees, like you mentioned, were off for a company holiday. The fire inside Building 6 has been been burning since a little before 7 o'clock this morning. The building is a non-production warehouse containing plastic parts and offices for several hundred employees. It's a total loss. GE says all production has been canceled through next week. Fire officials tell us the rain and severe weather isn't helping. All it does is hamper the situation and create low visibility. The heavy smoke could be seen for miles. We saw lots of pictures all over social media. Misty Lord Gentry discovered ash dropped in her yard, pieces of burned plastic from the GE warehouse.
And that's when then we caught eye of the debris and was just concerned as a citizen in this community, what's going on, what are we breathing, is the debris safe?
And we're told that this plant will remain closed through next week. And fire officials tell us that they plan to remain on the scene throughout the night and tomorrow. For now, reporting live, Katie Bauer, Wave 3 News.
All right, thank you, Katie. If April showers bring May flowers, then heavy rains bring April floods. Kentucky rocked overnight. Basements filled with water, those cars stuck. In Grant County in the northern part of the state, 16 students had to be rescued from a bus in rising floodwaters this morning. Creek waters flooded either side of the road, so crews actually had to use inflatable boats to rescue the students and the driver. And we asked organizers of the Papa John's 10-miler if flooding would have an impact on tomorrow's race. They say it's still going on as planned. Meteorologist Andy Weingarten is in for Brian Good tonight. And Andy, will any more rain cause problems this weekend?
It shouldn't. That's the good news. Really think the rain will be out of here in the next couple of hours. We've got one more little line with the cold front, and then that should do it. It's an interesting picture off the radar this morning. What looks to be heavy thunderstorms. This is actually the smoke plume about 2 hours after the fire started at the GE plant. Just amazing video seen there, and even the radar was able to pick it up. Now, technically, we're still under a tornado watch south of the river until 10 o'clock, but we've had no severe weather this afternoon. It's just been heavy rain, a little bit of lightning with these, and I don't think with the last line coming through that it will be any different. Here's all that's really left. There may be a rumble or two of thunder in some of this, but this is the actual cold front now coming through. Once this line of showers passes through, that should be it for Louisville. Southern Indiana already in the clear. It will take a little longer for our southern communities to be in the clear, but by mid to late evening, all the rain should be out, and we're setting up for a beautiful weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes. Janelle?
All right, thanks, Andy. Pursuit of perfection. We are so close to finding out if the Cats will make it all the way to the national championship game and keep their perfect record. Kent Taylor and Scott Reynolds are in Indy awaiting Kentucky's big game tomorrow night. And guys, I bet you've seen a sea of blue there already.
Oh, Janelle, you can't imagine how many, tens of thousands, because a lot of them actually won't have tickets to the game. But I talked to many fans who were up here just today for the shoot-around, Kent, and of course that lower bowl of Lucas Oil Stadium was full of fans.
Yeah, and you'll have the blue for Kentucky and Duke as well, and then
Yep.
some red from Wisconsin, and plenty of Michigan State fans here as well. Now, I've watched a Final Four game from the 400 level before here, and it wasn't great. We moved down for the championship game back in 2010, but John Bowl takes us inside the stadium to check out some of the sightlines for the different seats.
At the Final Four here in Indianapolis, there are still good seats available, like right here, section 140, row FF, half court extended, halfway up the section. Problem is the price tag is $4,500. Now, there are other seats available around the arena. The upper level nosebleed seats with views like this are running from $650 to $800. Some come with video monitors because you are so far away. Have you ever paid that much for a ticket?
No, I haven't.
Would you ever pay that much for a ticket?
Probably not. The most I've paid is about $300.
I have season tickets, so we go to a lot of the home games in Rupp Arena. And a game like this, it'd be nice to be here, but it's a whole lot easier to walk to the bedroom from the living room and watch it on the big screen.
Now, there are ways to beat these prices, like buy early, the way confident Cats fans did. 26% of the ticket sales for the championship game were purchased long ago by residents of the state of Kentucky. John Bowl, Wave 3 News.
All right, thanks, John. And you know what's crazy is those prices will even go up if Kentucky does beat Wisconsin, and they're 39-0 going for 40-0 on Monday night.
And those nosebleed seats in the back of a stadium like this,
I think
if
I'd
you go
stay
up
home.
there,
I mean, it's a great
see the game.
experience, but I think I'd stay home and watch it on TV.
It's just to say I was there.
Yeah.
I'd much rather watch it on the TV screen. And Janelle, coming up at 6, we're going to have much more here from Indianapolis in the Final Four, including 2 Louisville Cat fans I talked to who took the day off work just to watch that shoot-around.
All right, guys, we'll see you then. Thanks so much. Another sporting related note here. The weather forced Keeneland to cancel opening day halfway through the race card. Despite threatening skies, folks still went out to the Lexington track, but when the skies opened up, track officials canceled races 7, 8, 9, and 10. A Louisville prom proposal that proves the power of friendship. The basketball star's sweet photo that's gone viral. But first, the U.S. finally strikes a nuclear deal with Iran. The strong opposition is threatening an official agreement.
Now, streaming live on mobile, this is Wave 3 News at 5:30.
Well, this was a popular picture on social media from Air Force One flying overhead to those incredible traffic jams downtown. A lot of people are still talking about the president's visit to Louisville. But as Wave 3 News reporter Cedra Mayfield shows us, it's the shout out he gave one local man in particular that can only be described as cool.
Here at Indata, staff are still in cleanup mode after the president's visit Thursday. While they're still amped, turns out they now have an even cooler story to tell.
The reason I remember this guy is because his name is Ben Cool.
When the president shouts you out,
which is a really cool name. I mean, I kind of wish my name was Ben Cool.
it's safe to say Ben Cool lives up to his name.
It's surreal.
The 29-year-old is a principal software engineer for Indatus, the downtown Louisville business President Obama visited Thursday.
He talked to several of us. Next thing I know, I'm mentioned in a speech.
Ben doesn't have a college degree.
You see Cool's background impressed the president.
Because so much of the work that's done is open source, Ben essentially was able to teach himself.
That tenacity
I could build and figure out whatever I wanted to build.
allowed Cool to land his career.
Your traditional education is not essentially what is going to get you to a position like this.
That's exactly why 14-year-old Justin Jones
Once you learn all your terms and what brackets to use when, it becomes really easy.
says he enrolled in the Code Louisville program, one of Mayor Greg Fisher's free initiatives.
It's not as hard as it looks.
Aimed at building a homegrown, tech-savvy workforce.
We go Tuesdays and Thursdays
The Ballard High School freshman who's already coding websites
on a website for West Louisville Chamber of Commerce.
also on hand Thursday for the president's visit.
I got to tour Indatus.
From Code Louisville's training provided here at the beach to the open-minded hiring practices at Indatus, the Commonwealth is taking an active role in the president's Tech Hire initiative.
It brings employers and local governments together to support innovative job training programs.
Programs taken advantage of by driven young minds like Jones, preparing him to one day join these ranks.
They really cool people.
Cool. And the gang, on the other hand, still trying to take the president's visit in. Excited by the exposure,
It just means that we're doing something right.
yet humbled by the experience.
It's been pretty cool.
Although the president's visit thrust Indatus into the national spotlight, when it comes to productivity, staff here say they are sticking to the code. So now it's back to business as usual. Downtown, Cedra Mayfield, Wave 3 News.
And as you probably know, Louisville's former mayor now works at the White House in the West Wing, just a floor above the president. Jerry Abramson is now the White House Director of Intergovernmental Affairs. He stopped by Wave 3 News today and talked about his ride aboard Air Force One back to his hometown with his new boss.
And then as I got off the plane, I went toward the staff car. Or the staff van when the president said, "Hey, Jerry, come on and ride with me." So it was very exciting. And it was exciting in the sense of what he was talking about, because we're talking about, he talks all the time about a middle class agenda and how you grow this economy from the middle class out.
The former mayor of Louisville and lieutenant governor of Kentucky admits, though, the conversation wasn't all about politics.
I mean, we're coming down 65, and I said, now that's Male High School. That's where Louis Brandeis went to high school, you know, down at Brook and Breck. And he said, well, I didn't know Louis Brandeis was from Louisville. I said, oh yeah, that was Louisville. And then when we were coming down 65 earlier, I said, now that's Freedom Hall. And he said, oh, that's the All-American Hall of Fame coach Denny Crum. That's where he played. And he said he had that guy, Darrell Griffith, with a 42-inch vertical. I mean, the president knows his basketball.
Abramson says he's committed to staying in Washington for the next 2 years to finish out the president's term, and he will probably return home to Louisville after that. The reason President Obama was so late to Louisville yesterday, a nuclear agreement with Iran still not official. Round-the-clock negotiations with Iran and Switzerland this week on how to keep the country from developing a nuclear weapon. Finally yesterday, a framework was reached that pleased both the president and Iranian leaders, but now they have to convince Congress and Iran's skeptical neighbors. Israel's prime minister strongly opposes the deal, saying it is not strict enough.
One more round of rain coming through the metro right now. Once this ends, things should begin to brighten up. A great weekend weather forecast coming your way. We'll share it with you coming up.
Flooding in Wave Country prompted school closures today. People living at the Whispering Hills apartments off of Connecticut Drive, not too far from Okolona, woke up to water and lots of it. One resident told us her neighbors alerted her to the flooding, and she found nearly 2 inches of water in her apartment.
I got an alert on my phone that said flood warning or flood something, and I'm like, oh, nothing will happen, because no one ever thinks it'll happen, and then it happened. It's like a movie or something.
Brittany Rose says her car is probably totaled thanks to those floodwaters. Meteorologist Andy Weingarten in for Brian tonight. And Andy, just so many problems today, but thankfully we are looking forward to a calmer weekend ahead just in time for Easter.
That really is. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. You can forget all about everything that's happened in what has just been a crazy week, not just weather-wise, but otherwise as well. And an additional bit of good news here short term, Metro Louisville has been taken out of the tornado watch. The front's coming through right now. We had another little downpour here downtown just a few minutes ago, and that's the actual cold front swinging through. So as it moves through each county, they'll be taken out of the watch. I really don't think there's going to be a severe weather threat in our coverage area. It's really more downstate and over eastern Kentucky. Flash flood watches, various flash flood warnings are still in effect, especially to our south. No wonder. Look at these crazy amounts of rain. Over 5 inches of rain here in Louisville since midnight. They checked in at 4 1/4 in St. Matthews. Pretty much everybody somewhere in the 2, 3, 4 inch range. In some areas just south of Louisville have had as much as 6 inches of rain today. That doesn't even include some of the heavier rains that occurred last night. But again, things are beginning to calm down. There's the last little batch of showers coming through Metro Louisville right now. There's another little light rain area across southern Indiana. That'll scoot by to the north. It is opening up out to the west, and so I don't think we'll see any additional rainfall once this comes on through. There's still a threat of some heavier showers and storms to the south and east of the city, but southern Indiana is now in the clear. So good news there. Here comes the cooler air with those temperatures as well. Still holding to 65 here. They're down to 50 in Salem. Most of southern Indiana now is in the 50s, so we'll have about a 10-degree drop off here fairly quickly this evening as the front comes through. The winds shift around towards the north and west. Even the clearing line, not all that far away. It's starting to clear now across parts of Illinois and into Missouri. And here's your weather for the weekend. Wide open across the plains, much drier air, and we should see nearly full sunshine here, it looks like, over the course of the weekend. So again, showers ending this evening. Here's Saturday afternoon. Should see mainly sunny skies. Got Easter sunrise services. It'll be a little chilly, but you'll see mainly sunny skies at sunrise, and that will continue through the day on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend, because look what happens early next week. We've got more rain coming in. In fact, rain chance in the forecast about each and every day next week. So to the south and east of Louisville, you've still got the heavier rain and storm threat for another hour or two. We will drop, by the way, to 39 tomorrow morning. 59 your high tomorrow with all that sunshine, looking good, and the 7-day forecast looking good for Easter Sunday as well. We'll be close to 70 Sunday afternoon, but then a daily shower and thunderstorm threat returning for next week. May have taken a while for spring to get here, but it is here in earnest now.
It just looks like we're hitting repeat all of next week.
More heavy rain.
All right, thanks,
Okay.
Andy. Well, ahead at 6, we're checking back in with Cats fans in Indy at the Final Four's Fan Fest. But up next, the Louisville prom proposal that is getting national attention.
Welcome to the Kentucky Derby Festival Pegasus Pin Weekly Grand Prize Drawing. We are so excited about the Kentucky Derby Festival. With me now is the chair of the festival. This is Trish Osborne. Trish, what's going on this week with the festival?
Next weekend, we have our Future Stars Basketball Classic, which is next April 10th and 11th. So I encourage everybody to please come out and watch these great stars.
Something I know everyone loves is a great prize. Okay, Trish, what is up for grabs today?
This is an incredible fashion prize given by Dillard's. This is the time of year of fashion, as we all know. So our grand prize, it starts out with a spa and facial treatment, cosmetics at a value of $1,000, and then 2 complete outfits. I'm talking shoes, accessories, and purses. So that's wonderful. Now, if a gentleman wins, they get a $2,500 gift prize for a complete spring wardrobe by Dillard's Men's Store. And our lucky winner is Whitney Chandler. I'm totally jealous. So Whitney, congratulations.
Congratulations, Whitney. And don't forget to register your pin. You can use the KDF app, or you can go to PegasusPins.com. We'll see you next week on the Kentucky Derby Festival Pegasus Pin Weekly Grand Prize Drawing.
UK's pursuit of perfection continues, and not just in basketball, but bourbon too. Maker's Mark's latest commemorative bottle went on sale today, this time featuring UK coaching legend Adolph Rupp. It's the first in a series of bottles that will help raise money for the Center for Academic and Tutorial Services at UK. There will be a special autograph session at Keeneland next week featuring 4 of Rupp's All-American players. And check out this adorable prom proposal. Trey Moses, a basketball star at Eastern High School here in Louisville, tweeted this picture of himself holding up a big sign and giving flowers to Ellie Meredith. Ellie has Down syndrome. Trey has a girlfriend, but decided to ask Ellie to prom after the two became close through a school program cultivating friendships between students with and without developmental disabilities. The photo has gone viral nationally, and Ellie's mother says her daughter is thrilled and they are excited to shop for a dress. I hope they have a great time. Well, pasta and pizza proving themselves to be problematic for the Pope. Doctors have reportedly told the Pope to cut back. Italian press say he's been told to lay off the pasta and get some more exercise. Vatican observers say since he became Pope, he has grown, even though it's hard to tell with what the pontiff wears. And stick with us. Wave 3 News at 6 is up next with more on today's flooding, the fire, and more from Indy.